She was speaking to various stakeholders during the first national dialogue on preventive approaches geared at stopping climate change. Disasters, floods and climate change have been a common phenomenon across the country. These have since changed the debate and approach from respondent to anticipatory.
There can always be hazards. There can always be disasters. How do we position ourselves? How do we position the people to be affected, most likely to be affected? One, to ensure that it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, then what does it take to make sure that it doesn't happen? If it happens, how do we make sure we minimize damage to property and loss of lives?
Because we are looking at when we have issues like, for example, of hailstorm in a health center, it shouldn't be us running to do that. The Ministry of Health should be able to go and rehabilitate that facility. There is a bridge that has been broken. Ministry of Works should be able to go and do the rehabilitation. For us, we can do the early warning, mitigation, and also issues of response.
We have a limited resource envelope, and disasters are not prioritized in this country, and even in budgeting. And therefore, it is time for us to really focus on climate change, and my call is on the leadership, right from His Excellency the President. Let us stop the talk, but let us ensure that we actually walk the talk.
This made the government to launch a 10-year disaster risk management plan. The plan, which cuts across all ministries, departments and agencies, will see government spend over $280 million to implement it. This also calls for a shift from drawing funds from contingency fund.
So we are trying our best to make sure that this plan comes on board so that we now stick to the plan for the next 10 years instead of just waiting for only the contingency plan, which is not realistic. As sometimes now we see for the past 2 years we had issues of COVID-19. It took most of the contingency plan. And right now again we still have COVID-19 SOPs maintenance, and also now come up with the issues of Ebola.
Tororo Woman Member of Parliament Opendi suggests that each ministry should present proof of allocation of funds to climate change mitigation before their budgets are approved.
For example, if you look at tourism, their focus is different. If you look at agriculture, their focus is different. And therefore, there is need for us as Parliament to ensure that there is compliance with the various climate change policies and disaster management policies that are in place. We are going to propose that there be a climate change compliance certificate issued before any ministry budget can actually be approved.
Areas like Bududa, Manafwa, Karamoja, Kasese, among others, are the disaster-prone areas in Uganda. Government wants disaster mitigation efforts decentralized with the regional hubs where planning can take place contrary to the current planning, which is done in Kampala.
From this regional hub, we have already budgeted in the plan to have equipment. We are going to equip it, we are going to staff it, we are also going to make sure it is almost independent kind of setup, so that we do more coordination, but the action and also what has to be done in terms of response, in terms of mitigation, should be done at that level.
Since members of the public are major stakeholders in the fight against disasters, the anticipatory approach is expected to produce better results. Ramson Mhire, CTV PM Edition.